It says I'm live. Oh, thank God. Oof. I don't know if it was the game. Probably it was the game. But I had a headache that was, I don't know. If there was an earthquake measurement, I think it would have been a 10 on the Richter scale. I could not. Man, it was very, the game definitely did help the headache. Oh, man. It not help it in a good way to start with. It was very, very irritating to start. Well, in the second quarter, in the beginning of the third, but then I got really, really pissed and just kind of conceded. And I said, fuck it. And I was like, you know what? Let me see if these stubborn bastards get it and just say, this is not working today. And they have to find another way to win this game. And lo and behold, they did. They said, you know what? Screw it. And I think it was the second run of the second drive in the third quarter after the Bills D got the big stop. They got the ball. And I think Stevenson had a really nice punt return. There was another angry motor run. Took a few defenders right there. What's up, Matt? Took a few defenders. I think he took on Williams, the guy who forced the ball out on the Stevenson first punt, and then he took on one of their other safeties. But he blasted through. It was like a good 20+ yard run, and that just set the tone for the entire second half. And aside for some of those Allen runs, I would have loved to have seen Moss get a little bit more involved. Do I like the drip feed that they're doing? They're not putting too much on his plate where they're letting him get back in right away. Yeah, but I'm like, this is a game where a guy like him has value. Motor was running hard. I was like, now hit him again. Just hit him again. Hit him again. They were running Allen a little too much, but they were effective. So I couldn't complain. I got pissed. I said, they have to find another way to win this fucking game. Allen's not feeling it. Nothing's going our way, their way. I mean, ball gets tipped, guys there to catch it. I don't know if you guys were noticing, they were just flooding the zones. They had, at one point, they had 9 guys in coverage, like on 4 different downs. I don't know how the Bills were in the key areas. Red zone, 4 for 5. They were plus 55 in third down conversion, and they were 1 for 1 in fourth down. And the taunting penalty by Matt Ryan, I mean, and when they cut away from it and they went to a replay, I actually realized, I'm like, the taunting penalty is gonna still stand. Like, I'll give myself a little hat tip. I'm like, they're gonna get backed up to the 16. And lo and behold, when they went back to the broadcast, Mark Sanchez was like, "Oh, that's such an epic mistake." Blah 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 blah. It's just kind of hard. I don't know. Is it wrong of me to listen to a guy like Mark Sanchez? He played the NFL game. He was a quarterback. He went to the AFC Championship twice. All due respect, right? But he's also the guy who had the butt fumble. So when he throws down critiques, I just still kind of see him as like the guy who was partying with Jets season ticket holders' daughters and doing synthetic weed and looking like an idiot. And same thing with kind of Dan Orlovsky. You did run out of the back of the end zone for a safety, bro. Kind of lighten it up on your harshness sometimes. That's just me. Yeah, 2 to just the one I will say, there was a miscommunication on the Beasley route. That one in the end zone was egregious, though. I've got to put that on Allen. He's got to know better. You just put that ball out of the back of the end zone. You kick the field goal. You're up 17-15. You know what? Fuck it. If they take it down and score a touchdown, so be it. But you don't gift wrapped, because that just changed everything. There was a 13-point flip right off there. And thank God the defense today, 5 sacks. Rousseau showed up with a big strip sack, put 7 points on the board for us early. And I don't know if it was he couldn't feel the ball well. He just wasn't vibing in the pass game. I don't know what it was, but they totally had to reverse course in the second half. They went, I believe, as heavy a run as I've seen. I think they only threw 5 or 6 passes in the second half, and then the rest was like 20. It's like 20 plus run plays, 25 run plays. It was 200 plus yards. Motor ran his ass off. You saw it. It was really really great to see him get going. And you saw some angry runs. You saw some finish. Him with his pads low. It was, and even a few of the Moss runs, they were finished well. He ran confidently, decisively. There was no dancing in the backfield. It seems like that offensive line combination with Dawkins, Bates, Morse, Brown, Williams had everything just going in the right direction in the run game. But, the QB, again, like Matt says, I was thinking that same thing, Matt. I don't know if another quarterback other than Lamar Jackson, who's hurt, Kyler Murray, he just kind of says, you know what? This isn't working, but I'm going to do it this other way. And then the run game behind him was complimenting him too. So it kind of became like a mini 300 monster. I was so waiting for them to hit just one of those little jet sweep motions. I was waiting for McKenzie to get one of them, just one of them, but they just never gave it to him. I don't know if they're being vanilla because they feel like the playoffs are almost there, that they don't want to compromise it. But this was a must-win game. That was a team on the other side of the ball that had to win this game. This was not an easy game. Atlanta, I know, you got a sage veteran quarterback on the other side of the field who's been to a Super Bowl, been to the playoffs, is seen, 14, 15 years of football in this league. And, that's not a tomato can. Is he in the twilight of his career? Yes. But still, that's not an easy layup right there. So that team has a player on their side of the field that knows a lot of the Bills' offense, has been in the Buffalo's offense for 2 years, and I'm sure he gave them a little intel on what to and what not to with the Bills. I mean, Matt Barkley's on the other side of the field. I mean, come on. That's just kind of how these things happen, and people don't say that those things aren't. They work. They do it. Everybody knows teams do it, and it happens. But like you said, 3 turnovers. Bills did get a turnover. They flipped for 7. I mean, just from the start of the game, it was just a pain in the ass. It's like I felt confident they were going to win, but it was just like, why does this have to be such a pain in the ass? Stevenson just muffs the punt. Heady play by Kumaro. Just give up the safety, punt the ball back to him. Bills go down and score. Bills 3 and out. No, actually, strip sack. Easy score again. 14-2. Calm down. You've got this. Okay. You give up a field goal drive. Whatever. They're on their way to kick their own field goal. Instead, it turns into a 13-point flip, a 12-point flip, and then you're down by 1 going into half. Okay. Interception happens, tip pass. I at that point, I'm just it would have been unconscionable for me to come in here, or for any of us to have the gumption to come in here if they would have lost to Atlanta. It would have been unconscionable. And everybody going to say, oh, look at the Pats. They went down and they had this team. Look, the Pats run up the score on the Jets, who were up against it. They ran up the score to make them still feel better after last week. They put 50 on that hapless team, and they'll say, well, they beat the Bills. Okay. What do you think is going to happen? The Bengals are going to get all the credit in the world for beating the Chiefs today, right? This is what happens with the Bills. Bills were playing the Chiefs when they were bad. They beat the Chiefs when they were not doing too good. You know the rhetoric, so you already know what the hell is going to happen. Watch. I hope McDermott uses it. I hope he does it, because we're going to need that. And I was kind of glad they struggled today. Once I knew the game was in hand, they were up 20. They were going in for the last score. I was like, okay, this will be a lesson. Jets team played with a lot of fight today. They played with a pulse. Yeah, it was insane. Absolutely insane what he did. Now, I'll talk about him in a minute because that's just another issue unto itself. And the fact that anybody acts surprised about that makes me insane. This man has had issues for years, and they're not CET issues. There's a reason a kid that talented goes to a small school in Central Michigan who has to get drafted in the 5th round, much like Tyreek Hill, talented as shit. How do guys that talented get there? Because they're not right. They're just born off. Money, entitlement, people telling them yes all the time, not holding them accountable. Guess what that does to their issues? Makes them a hell of a lot fucking worse. So when they get told no, when they get told you have to do this instead of this, what you want to do, a schism happens. They freak the fuck out. And they're like, I'm out. Fuck you. That's what they do. Why is it so hard for people to understand? Why do people have to find, CET? Not CET. It's a dude who's been told yes his whole life by women, by people who, teams, his enablers, the league. How many times a guy fuck up? He just been given a pass back into the league. Embarrass a team on Hard Knocks, celebrating that he got cut with the Raiders because he forced his way out because he said he burnt his feet in a cryo chamber. I mean, seriously. Like, people think that that's CET. Now, this is a dude that's got other issues that aren't related to CET. It's called entitlement, right? And when you surround yourself with yes men in life, and then all of a sudden those yeses start turning into no's, that's what you get. That's it. Simple as that. No need to make mountains out of molehills. Yeah, Vontae had the decency to do it at half from public. You know what? I kind of think that was contrived, the way he did it. It looked, guys like him just are actors. They're clowns. So he just did that. He made a show of it. Wouldn't shock me. So what are you going to do? That's not the Bills' problem, right? Not the Bills' problem. Yeah, he had one good return. He took a big hit from the same guy who forced the fumble on another kick return. He held on to the ball. It's just that was a concentration. And you know what's lost in the fact, this is the last thing I'll say about Antonio Brown. You know what's going to get lost in all the craziness? How fucking talented he was. Like, how talented he was. Like, that's the thing that'll end up, like, really, like, you'll just draw back from all the bullshit and be like, that guy was really fucking talented. Holy shit. That sucks. Like, I've never seen him. Like, I think I was telling Jake this, like, last week. I've never seen a man in a live game. Think about the chaos of a punt return, right? You got 11 dudes flying down to take your head off. But during the chaos of a punt return, not only is he effectively returning the punt, he has the presence of mind and the athletic ability of mind to drop kick. I think it was Lanning, that was the name of the punter, in the face. I know he took a penalty and still land on his feet and keep going. That was insane. That was insane. Like, one of the craziest things I've ever seen in a game. Like, that just, you got to be half crazy to do that. Like, fuck. Like, you don't care. It's a shame, man. But, it is what it is. The league has been filled with and a lot of you younger guys don't get caught up in this media rhetoric about this new thing. Look, these motherfuckers have been culpable for a lot. The media has been complicit in a lot of dudes. I live in a community. I watched Lawrence Taylor come in and out of this town for almost a decade, picking up hookers, 8 balls, And guess what everybody did around here? Yo, LT, what's up, my nigga? Blah, 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 blah. Yo, blah, blah, blah. They didn't give a shit. Nobody cared. Yep, that's what I say, Duster. That's their problem. You let a clown into your house, expect a circus to break out. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't feel bad for Bruce Arians. I don't feel bad for the Buccaneers. I don't feel bad for Tom Brady. You reap what you sow. I'm glad he's not our problem, because that, you know what would have happened. Bills would have been put on blast and embarrassment. Blah 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 blah. You know, the Glazers got a lot of clout in the league. They own they own Manchester United, so you know the NFL is always trying to kiss their ass to get games over there, more games, more this, more that. So they ain't gonna let them be embarrassed too much on a national stage. The puppet masters have had their, they pulled their strings on their puppets already. They told them, don't be too, be nice about this one. Yeah, he looks good. He looks good. But you know what? I back to the game. Removing the emotion. Reason I come on late, I had a splitting headache. Where I don't know where the Excedrin is. I put it somewhere. I was dying. And I just needed to just like take a 2-hour nap. But I was glad, thinking about it, I was glad to see the Bills. They were forced to win left-handed. You don't want to win this way, but you're gonna try to have to, and they did. And again, Atlanta was up against it, and they were pulling out all the stops. They were not an easy out. They were just not an easy out. They were playing for it was a weird situation where a team that's not in your conference, but this game mattered so much to them because their record is what it is, such that they couldn't even afford a loss against an out of conference opponent. So that it was one of those, I don't recall many of those. So it was a very strange situation that they had to, yeah, he's KO'd, man. He's done. He got him. Yeah, Bates looks like a guy. I know he went down late in the game. Don't know how that wrapped up. I know Feliciano finished it out at left guard, but I didn't see anything said about it after, so I'm not sure. And it's just it's not it's very it's a very hard league to win in. It's not an easy out, but it just, when you watch the game, we'll be honest, the Bills made it harder on themselves than they needed to be. Two decisions difference, instead maybe this Stevenson lets the ball go in the end zone, touchback. There's no 2 points. Josh just throws the ball into the stands. Bass puts it between the uprights. There's 3 points right there. So there's 5. But instead, it turns into a 12-point flip because Atlanta goes down and scores, and then there's 5 points right there. 3 less for the Bills, 2 more for them. So there's 12 points, kind of hidden, but they're there. And you can't have that. You just can't have that. So hopefully it's a teaching moment. And I don't think it's one that they need to be learning at this point in the season. I just think that it's kind of a double-edged sword. It's good. Like, look, you know what? You got to be on your P's and Q's because everybody's coming to beat you. The Jets are going to try to keep you from winning the East. They put up a good game against the Tampa Bay, and I like that too. I was glad that the Jets, played a tough game. Their quarterback, young kid, showed out pretty well. So the Bills don't have some lollipop coming in either. They got a team that they blowed out at their place. Might want to come in with a little bit of revenge. Bills got to be up for that. They got to be ready to roll. Easily, Eric. And that's the frustrating part. Easily. And in the second half, turnover didn't kill them. Bills went down, I believe, right away and scored. So it was basically just a possession where the turnover just took, 3 extra minutes off the clock. And the long of short of it benefited them. But it's still frustrating, just to tip pass. Again, if you guys have any of the ability to go back watch the game with the Game Pass whatnot, I was getting really, really pissed that they didn't go to the run earlier because I was watching, particularly on the first interception of the second half. Well, it was the last interception. They dropped 9 guys into coverage, literally 9 guys into coverage. Like they rushed to one guy rushed and then disengaged. It might have been Walker. He like took a step, touched, and went back, and then the ball got tipped and fell right into his hands. And it was just completely fucking annoying. The zones were they were just trying to flood them all. And that's why when Josh just took that one big shot to Diggs, I think he finally just was like, that's the one that they just were wanting to hit all game, but it never came to pass. I mean, some of the passes, were on early in the game, but they just went into this big stale spot. And I was like, okay, stay on schedule, run. And I hope they learn from that. They have to learn from that. Like, look, we've got to have, just stay on schedule. You don't need to go 3-3-3 and live and die with that. Motor's been playing well. Moss looks like he's getting his legs back underneath him. The field, I don't know what the conditions were out there. I know a few people who were at the game. They said it wasn't windy, but I'm not standing on the field, nor were they. So I don't know what the footing was like. It didn't look like there was much slipping out there. It looks like guys had their legs under them pretty well. So I didn't see big issues with that. Maybe it was the ball. I don't know. It was just it is what it is. I don't mind it. I like that kind of football. I like the fact that they had to find a way to win another way. And even though Josh was ineffective as a passer, he was definitely effective as a runner. Picked up a few fourth downs, picked up some big third downs, scored 2 touchdowns. Everybody last week he's the first 120 guy. Well, you know what? Now he's the first 130 guy. 101 touchdown rushing and 31 rushing touchdowns. So, again, yeah, it looked like he was trying to just let it rip a little too hard. At least from what I saw on the screen, it's hard to tell. Sometimes it looked like the ball was flying out of his hands. It looked like he wasn't feeling it too well. But from what I'm looking at here, some of you guys are up there. I was looking at the weather forecast. It looks like it's supposed to be similar weather next week, though, up there. Sunday's supposed to be, it's 6 days out, so who can tell? It looks like it's supposed to be snow showers again. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, Beasley stopped his route. He got knocked off. He stopped. Allen thought he was going to keep going, and he threw it. And then Terrell just kind of said, "Oh, he's going to throw this," and he just stopped and just intercepted it. Nah, man, I'm not from Western New York. I was born in North New Jersey. That's where I am right now, Jersey City. But the one a tip pass falls into a guy's lap. There's a miscommunication on the route. The one that pisses me off the most is the one you're down in the red zone, just throw the ball out of the back of the end zone, take 3 points. I know it's not what you wanted. The offense was aggressive. They went for it on 4th down, got a penalty, scored a touchdown on the next play. Okay, you have to eat those even out. Sometimes you got to take 3. It's not the worst thing in the world. It's not sexy, but it has substance. That was the one that irritated me the most. I don't care about the stat line. Other than that, I don't care about. That one play in particular really pissed me off. Yeah, he just has to. That has to just throw it out of the back of the end zone. That was the one. I don't know who he was throwing to on that one, Justin, Eric. That was the thing. I was like, who the hell was he throwing to? Was it Diggs? I saw Moss underneath it. I was like, was he even the guy? Like, I just couldn't tell what he was seeing. And then there was one he threw. It just again, the ball just looked like it was sailing on him today. I just couldn't make heads or tails. But again, sounding like a broken record. I was glad. Again, first 100-yard rusher in almost 2 years. That's a long time. You're a cold weather team. Running for 100 yards is not a monumental feat in the NFL, in my opinion, anymore. You know, you give a back enough touches, they can get you 100. They can get you 100 yards. They're gonna pop one here or there, and make that happen. And I felt motor perfect, and it's been built into this. It's been built into this, and I liked what Moss brought today too. I thought he should have had a few more touches instead of pounding Allen up in there. I felt like, you know what, Moss looks like he's ready to run a little bit. It looks like he's running decisive. He's running downhill. Let him get behind his pads a little bit. And I want to see some of the same the next week. There's nothing wrong with just turning around, handing the ball to the back and letting him, there's nothing wrong with 2nd and 7. There's nothing wrong with 2nd and 6. There's nothing wrong with it. That there's nothing wrong with that. And I think they need to get to that mindset. And that was another thing. We were mentioning the backs. That's something we didn't see from the backs today. It was just like, and that's my point is they were just dropping 8-9 guys into coverage every time, and they were just standing there. They were just not, there was nowhere. It didn't look like there was anywhere. Maybe it was the visibility, the fact Allen wasn't feeling the ball well. I don't know. It was just, the voids just looked, all I saw, it was crazy. Every time I saw the ball get thrown, there was like 5 Falcons there. And it's possible you have Matt Barkley on the other side there. He was inactive today. It happens. You know what? They know the checks. They know some of the plays. They know some of the calls. He was in that offense for 2-3 years. Same with Lee Smith. They have a good beat on on Daboll and the Bills like to do in certain situations. So if you guys think that's a possibility, I'd like to hear it. But I definitely think that happens, and it's part of the gamesmanship of the NFL. It really is, and they're up against it. Their playoff lives depended on today, and the Bills ended it. A lot of teams ended on the Bills today. The Browns officially got eliminated. The Dolphins officially got eliminated, and one other team. Yeah, Matt looked sharp today. I mean, he took some big shots, 5 sacks for the Bills today. We got to give some credit to that pass rush. There was a couple other times felt like they could have got home on him. But that stand after the 3rd Allen interception in the second half was huge. I believe, and you know who I have to someone like, that's an old stale idea, man. I saw nothing from him that would make me want to give him a big deal. It just sounds stale. You know what I mean? I don't know why people do that stuff. What's up? What's up, Doug? How you doing, bro? But that was just it was just a point where running the ball, it's just such a fundamental part of playoff football, staying on schedule, being able to score in the red zone. They were 4 for 5 in the red zone today, and they were all rushing touchdowns. Just because they committed to it, they did it with some conviction. And again, sometimes it's not sexy. Is 5 passing touchdowns sexy? Yeah. But you know what? Winning is sexy. And sometimes just winning that way is sexy. There was nothing wrong with what the Bills did today. And the only 2 issues I had was just 2 decisions that makes the game look really, really ugly. Like I alluded to before. Stevenson, just let the ball go to the back of the end zone. That's it. Just take the ball to 20. I know he wants to make a big play. He's young, dumb, full of cum. He wants to blow his load and take one back. I get that. And also Allen, he's a young, still a little that untameness to him. Just get that ball to the back of the end zone, dude. 3 points right there. There's nothing wrong with it. you know. But the point I was trying to get back to, you didn't see none of those little you didn't see none of those little checks to the backs today. You didn't see none of those. That was a little, I think I saw them attempt one early in the game to Singletary and it was missed. But out of that, it was just, they were just trying to get lots of stuff to the receivers, and there was not a lot of, again, zones were just completely clogged. I didn't see much of anything underneath. I thought maybe they could have sucked them upfield with something and try to hit them with a screen, but the Bills aren't really a screen team. So who knows? Maybe they were trying to figure out a way to, hold their cards to the vest yet still win, not show all their cards. I know they had to pull out all the stops last week with, the division pretty much being on the line, the receivers that were out, the situation on the offensive line. So it was just a completely different situation. They're on the road. So to liken those two games is kind of a fool's errand. I wouldn't do that. No, that's good, Eric, because you have to. And you know what? He did a lot of that work today too. I'll give him a lot of credit because he was about it. He took some big shots in the run game. He bounced back up and said he wanted it and just kept toting the rock. And there's times where he doesn't take shots in the sense he makes guys miss and still runs for an extra 4 or 5 plus yards. It's like he just doesn't look like that kind of athlete. And when he goes out there and does it on the field, it's like he's still kind of like, holy shit, he still has that. He's still very young. Of course, he still has that, but it's just still like you're kind of shocked that that's still there. These types of games though are fundamental. Eric, thank you. That was the one thing I wanted to get to before I had an epic brain fart because I had an Excedrin migraine for like 2 hours before I jumped on here. Harrison Phillips has, wow, talk about a guy we were just all sitting in this room 10 weeks ago, 9 weeks ago, 8 weeks ago, and just saying we could cut tomorrow. They could cut tomorrow. Peace. One and done. You're probably going to move on from you. Where the hell did this guy come from? Like, this is the guy the Bills thought they were getting. This is Kyle Williams 2.0. And I'm not even joking. Like, remember when I said, all that Kyle Williams 2.0 talk is all gone? Guess what? That shit came up and said hi. Credit to him, man. Credit to him. Shut me the fuck up all day long, twice again on Sunday. I'll take it, man. I'll eat that crow. Just give me a little hot sauce. But he's run stuff. The sack he beat his man on, that was beautiful move. Like playing confidently, just with a lot of, and he's playing downhill angry too. It's not just this, he's just playing well. Like who would have saw it coming? Yeah, man, big guy like that. Who, that's what we forget about, and I forget about it more than anybody. It's like I've tweaked stuff, I've heard stuff, I've done a little of this, I've done a little of that in my day, and you have to regain mental confidence in it. Even though it's like, okay, I'm healthy, I'm cleared. Can I still do this? Do I want to do this? Will it hold up? Do I trust it? So I get it, but his play hasn't just done this. He's taken this trajectory, but to go from a guy that looked cuttable. I heard the story about the PCL. He tore the PCL in the surgically repaired knee. But to go from a guy that looked cuttable, totally cuttable, like they could have just cut him and nobody would have said boo, right? It'd have been like, sucks. seems like a wasted draft pick, right? Damn, we really needed that. To go from a guy like in that of that ilk, lack thereof, to a guy who's your looks like he's irreplaceable. It's like, holy shit. Oliver had a sack. Yes, he did. Ruseo, strip sack. He almost got home on another one, too. And he just got bumped. I forget who hit him, but he was close. But the thing that I loved about the Ruseo strip sack was that length just came in, just knocked that ball right out of there. Knocked that ball right out of there. You know, it just and how about the also another play that was big, kind of gets lost in the shuffle. Epinesa with the run stuff down in the goal line on Cordero Patterson, dropped him for like a 4 or 5 yard loss. They were, I believe, they were second and goal at the 2. That one put them, and then they had to settle for the field goal. That was a huge play. Huge play. Huge play. He got away with a hit to the head on Ryan late. Be that as it may, but still, like he showed like a lot of like shot out of a cannon type ability today, which was nice to see. I know Addison had a sack, Oliver had a sack, Ruseo, Taron Johnson had a sack. That's like Taron Johnson's 3rd sack of the year. Crazy. Nickelback getting sacks. Didn't look like there was many interceptable passes out there. Not a lot of tips. Ryan didn't throw much, but he was very, very decisive. But ultimately him, getting tough with Poyer at the end is really what ruled the day. To go from first and was it 3rd and goal from the half yard line, they're going to go for it. Think it's a touchdown. It's not a touchdown. His knees down, and then your 3rd and goal from the 16. They were just totally demoralized after that. Just totally demoralized as a team, as an offense. There wasn't a lot of, it didn't look like there was a lot of oomph on those offensive plays. Those are the last 2 offensive plays they had. Bills got the ball and just kept it, ran the clock out after that. They just looked completely demoralized after they took that penalty. Yeah, he's been really, really good, and then hence he's gotten the contract extension. That stand that happens right after the Allen tip interception was huge, because then that could have changed everything. I mean, the defense really had a really good game today. Really, really good football game. You 4 turnovers, and there's 1 touchdown, a safety, and what, 2 field goals. That's a great fucking game. You'll take, if your defense is only going to give up 15 points a game in the modern NFL, that's an amazing day. You'll take that, and you know damn well your offense can get you a minimum of 21. Minimum of 21. Davis, that was a okay. Eric brings up a point. I wasn't going to complain, but I'm going to complain about him. Why does a play have to go to review when it's so obvious? There's a referee standing right there looking at it. One guy comes in from behind, says, catch. The other guy standing right here says, no catch. So they go with no catch. And then they're like, oh my God. There was another one. They throw the flag where Allen gets cleaned up a little bit by, I believe, Sheffield came in and gave him a little hit. They were going to give him 15 yards for roughing the passer. They didn't do it. They picked the flag up. I'm like, why did you throw the flag to begin with? It was ridiculous. You know what? It was really bothering me yesterday. It was bothering me since yesterday. I don't know if some of you guys watched some of the bowl games yesterday, But the amount of kids, and these are kids. This might be their last college game, right? This might be their last opportunity to be on a football field of any caliber. And you get these asshole refs who are kicking them out for targeting. And some of these plays, if you're watching them, they're bang bang plays. It's just like boom boom. It's like you have that's it. You're not trying to kill shot the guy. There's split second, hair second things that just happen. And the fact that your head hits his or your shoulder hits his is just incidental. And there was like 5 kids thrown out of games yesterday. It's like, that might be that kid's last chance to play. And you're sending them out to do what? To prove what point? It's just irritating to watch. It is encouraging, Trevor. It is encouraging, but it's also, it's annoying because it's their whole season. They fucked up. They still won by 14. It's like the Tennessee game, 2 touchdowns called back on penalties. 2 touchdowns. That's a win. You go to the Jaguars game. There's just turnovers, anemic offense. Defense plays its ass off. The offense just can't put one drive together. You go to the first Patriot game, you're down inside the goal line twice, inside the 5. You can't punch it in. And you have a dumb, just a boneheaded turnover that turns into points for them. Tampa Bay, the same thing. You're down with a chance to win it, but you go back in the first half and it just, stupid turnover at the end of the half. Doesn't kill you, but still takes one less opportunity for you to score away. Just biting yourself. You can't bite yourself in the ass in the playoffs, man. It's going to kill you. It's really going to kill you. It bothered me because I just feel like, I don't know. It just bothered me. I'm like, look, you want to say you want to protect these guys or not. It's 50-50. I get it. The defender looked like he knew what he did. The defender looked dejected. If the defender looks like he's guilty of it, then I say he's guilty of it. But if you don't feel like he's guilty of it, then don't throw the flag at all. Like, that's the thing I don't like, is deciding after the fact. Like, you throw the flag. Okay, you threw it in real time. Stick with it. It's easy to go back and reconvene and say, well, what did we really – well, you can't really go back and see unless you go to review, and you can't review the penalty. But you are reviewing the penalty. You're just doing it without video. So I don't like it, man. I just you stick with the call. Yeah, well, KC went and, they did what they did today and they lost that. It's what happens in the NFL, man. No, I didn't think it was much. I've seen way worse, but I've seen way less called and the flags stay. You know what I mean, Doug? I've seen way, way less. Dude, the roughing the passer on Oliver that he had on Ryan. He just knocks Matt Ryan on his ass a tenth of a second after he threw it, maybe like three quarters of a second after he throws 15 yards. It's like, come on, man. Really? The guy he fell in a seated position. But yet you missed the one where fucking Epinesa just whacked him right in the head. Clearly whacked him right in the head. I mean, like, missed that one. That's all I mean. Like, no consistency. Flags picked up. There was another one that I forget that was really just it turned out to be offsetting, as a matter of fact. It turned out to be an offsetting penalty. But it was just I looked back and I saw it and I'm like, what the fuck are they doing? What are they looking at? Like, what did they see that was that? I think they called it a pass interference. And it's literally, I forget, I think it's Zacchaeus or whatever his name was for Atlanta. He's literally running into Taron Johnson and just driving him down the field, almost like he's blocking him. But he's blocking him in like a cross route. And they threw the flag on Taron Johnson. It was terrible. And I forget the penalty Atlanta got on the play, but it was obviously offsetting. Was it that? Yeah, that okay. Then that was the play. It was so annoying. It was so annoying. But you know what? They're consistently bad, Trevor. So I'll take the consistently bad. They were consistently bad in both teams' favor. I don't know what you know what I don't know about those. Then they need to. Those Bills fans really don't remember the days of JP Lossman and guys like that, and watching Jeff Toole and Thad Lewis, and you know just I could just think of so many horrible situations that we had to watch. Trent Edwards. I mean, we don't need to rehash the names. I don't even worry about those people no more, man. You got to remember, I mean, everybody likes to drink and do their thing and stuff, but some of these people are fair weather fans that jumped on because it's a good product now, and they're watching the game high and drunk through the gills, and they don't know. They were other teams fans before. It's like, oh, Bills got a nice new quarterback, so they'll be Bills fans for a minute. See how that goes. Got to know these fly by nights. Maybe they'll be Bengals fans next week. You never know. Yeah, just well, the one he should have thrown out of bounds, Trevor. I'll put one on him. Miscommunication, I get a little tiffy on. Tip passes happen, but the one that shit's gotta go at the back of the end zone. Allen's a big boy. You can criticize him a little bit. He can take it. He's not a child. He can, he's good enough to take the criticism. He's not getting a jersey and cleats sent to Canton for being the first 130 guy for nothing. He can take a little bit of heat. But Singletary played well in Allen's stead, the passing game not being there. And I think McDermott, it was crazy to see McDermott with so gleeful after the game, because I think he likes that they had to hey, we couldn't throw the ball. We couldn't, I want to see. I'm so now next week, I'm so anxious to see what their game plan is going to be, because I want to see how they come out and play in terms of being balanced, maybe riding the run a little bit more, maybe sucking up the defense a little more, or just basically saying, if they kill us with the run, fine, but we ain't going to let him beat us. And if teams want to do that, guess what? You're going to have to beat them. You're going to have to run the ball effectively. If teams are going to say, we're not going to let Allen kill us, we'll sit back in a 7, 8, 9. We don't give a shit. Run the ball at us. And if you beat us with it, hats off. But we're not going to let that guy beat us. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do, what little wrinkles they're going to throw in. That's why I was waiting for McKenzie to get one of those. I was hoping McKenzie, just one pitch. I want to see him. If he takes that corner, I think he could get a chunk. When I say chunk, 20 plus. Trevor, no, I don't want us to try to force it, but there's times you've got to hit it, man. It's not sexy, but you do it, and then when you pop one, it's like, okay, there it is, and then all of a sudden the defense is like, ah, shit. They're body blows, dude. Body blows suck. And after you've taken 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them, guess what? That 9th and 10th one really hurt, and they don't have to be hard. And then you get a little tired, and then you start missing tackles, and you start getting sloppy, and then it's like, oh, here comes a pass. So it helps. It helps. And they went for it on 4th down too. How many times they go for it on 4th down? Twice today. The first one right away, they went for it, got it in after giving up the safety. Didn't look good. It definitely did not look good. That was a highly annoying way to go down in the game. 28 first downs to 18. 19 rushing first downs, 1 first down via penalty, 7 for 12 on third down. So they were basically 8. They converted 8 of those because they went for it on fourth on once and got it. 71 total plays. So I like that too. That means the defense wasn't out there a lot, getting hammered on, playing in high leverage situations where they're, I didn't see any defensive injuries today, which is huge. Yeah, I think that's his most. I think that might be his most, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm not mistaken, that might be his career high. Because I know the Bills put out a press release of some kind saying that it was the first time, it was first 700 rushers since I think Spiller and Jackson, and then they did OJ and his teammate. So they had hit on quite a few on another marker. Let me see right here. Rushing. Yeah, that's a career high for him. And six rushing touchdowns. So shit. I mean, what more can you ask for? I don't know how many of those turned into third downs. I mean, how many of those have turned into first downs? I mean, quite a bit. That's just, it's insane. Yep. I just want it to be more balanced. That's all. I don't want it to have to be like where this element of our game is just totally null and void. No, I want them to work in concert. Like, hey, we can do both effectively. It doesn't have to be like, hey, we can only choose one of these today. Maybe today was a game where you can only win that way, and that's fine. I remember some old Bills teams like that. I don't mean to invoke them, but there were some older Bills teams where Kelly wasn't feeling it. But you know what? Singletary's not Thurman Thomas. And Moss isn't Kenneth Davis right now or Derek Holmes right now. Could they, none of them will be Thurman Thomas. But can they be a little bit better than Kenneth Davis? Hopefully. Hopefully. The corners have been great. And Eric, thank you, because I was going to bring up a point, but you reminded me, so you get credit for it. Otherwise, I was never going to say it. Given that Trey White's knee injury happened so late in the year, we all do realize he's going to start out next year on PUP, right? We're probably not going to see him for the first 6 weeks of the next season. You know how McDermott and they are with injuries. They're not going to force the guy onto the field right away. It's an ACL. He plays corner, which is, a very short area quickness position. And they're not going to run him. He was good, man. All the goal line work he got. There was games where he would run for 100 easy. It's just Thurman was the guy, but in the goal line situations, Davis was getting the ball. He had more breakaway speed than Thurman did. Oh, it was an 80-yard run he had against Atlanta. It was fucking crazy. Kelly only threw like 5. I think I put the box score in. Kelly only threw like 5 passes in the whole game. It's crazy. But you know what? He's not going to the Pro Bowl, dude. That's insane. I don't care, Brian, to be honest with you. It's just whoever gets in, whoever they play. I don't have a preference. Just play who you play and let's go. That's it. I don't really have a fear of playing this one or not playing that one, because you're going to have to play and beat good teams to get where you want to go no matter what. There's no, with all due respect, there's no Jets, there's no Giants, there's no, I would say the Jags, but the Jags beat the Bills. So, just more to the point, today's a good win, and it's a frustrating win, but it's a really good win for several reasons. For a lot of you young cats, it's just further stabilizing the benchmark of the turnaround he gets a lot of flack. and he got a lot of flack early in the year for being conservative, and a lot of flack for, maybe losing his edge, but none of this happens without McDermott. We're not here having this conversation and that unless that man is given carte blanche to come in and do what he did January 13th of 2017, which was to fumigate the building, to totally reformat and disassemble and reassemble One Bills Drive in his image and his vision, for Brandon Beane to come in right behind him in May of that year after Doug Whaley was fired the day after the draft. And, and nobody can dispute the turnaround job that's happened. Nobody. I mean, it's without him, there's none of this. And the chance they took on Josh, the amount of flack that we all gave them and that they got nationally, locally, from the fans, from the media, and they weathered it, stuck with it, and it's, there's only one thing left. What that saying from Major League, Tom Berenger says it. There's only one thing left to do. That's it. Nobody, Eric. I mean, if you would have had a gun to my head at the end of the Music City Miracle, which is the last time they made the playoffs before that drought started, and you would have told me in that moment that was going to be the last time you see this team in the playoffs for that long, I would have said, pull the trigger, you're fucking crazy. There's no way in hell. I'd be dead. Yeah, man. Yeah, way glad, because there's a lot of teams now. You see a lot of teams out of it that were in it last year. The Browns, they're out of it. Thought they got back in it. Now they're back out of it. And there's a few other teams too, in it a little bit, out of it. I don't know where the Colts are. Maybe they're on the fringes. I think they're pretty much in it no matter what happens. I think they still have to have some things fall into place, but I don't know if it's 100% solid that they're in it. I know that the Chargers are battling for their lives right now. But if the Bills can take care of their business next week, it's pretty much guaranteed, and you're not getting on a plane. Like, everybody's coming to you for the next, you're home for the next 2 to 3 weeks, which is good, which is really, really good. You were in 4th grade. You know what I mean? Insane. And look at all the things that have passed. It's insane. People tell me, oh, I watched your first video when I was 10. And I'm like, oh, Christ, we were only 7, 8 years into the drought then. If you would have told me when I did that first video, there would have been 10 more years of it, I would have said you were crazy then. Said number 17 is the answer to 17 years. That's a good one, Doug. That's a good one. I like that one. But it's definitely, I think that's what this day does. It's like, everybody sees Allen didn't have the best day or didn't have a good day at all, but you see what, then just the whole body of work, everything they've done up until this point. He was very effective as a runner today. The game that they're coming off of last week, the fact they were able to just calmed it down, and just went into the locker room. Even they came out and had the one turnover. The defense came out onto the field and had a hellacious 3-and-out stop, forced them to take a 3, pretty much 3-and-out of them, to the point where they took a delay of game because they wanted more room to punt the ball, and said, you know what? Then it was just like, okay, we're done. We're done playing games. After that, I believe if I go back and look at the play sheet, the Bills only threw 4 passes in the second half, and the rest were runs. And, that's very comforting to see that they could do that, do it well, had the self-awareness to do it. They weren't hard-headed enough to do it, because I will hearken back to some games with the great Tom Brady in New England. I remember, a Bills Patriots game. I used this game a few times here. Bills Patriots 13, end of the season, really doesn't matter. Bills are 6-9, going about to be 6-10. Patriots aren't really doing anything, can't do much. It's pouring out. You know what? They just start handing the ball off to LeGarrette Blount, and they just pound. I think he even returned a few kicks and broke a few. Couldn't stop them. Bills were having some tough sledding against the Pats in 2012 at home. They should have been up like 28-21-7 going at half. I remember CJ Spiller fumbles the ball going at the 2-yard line, gives the Pats the ball. Pats kneel on it. They go into half down only, I think, 14-7. Really, really irritating. Pats come out, run. Few throws, touchdown. Bills actually score. Pats do the same thing, tie it up, and then the Bills just turn over the ball like 3 straight times, and that's it. But then it was another game, not Bills Patriots. It was the Jonas Gray game. Brady could not hit the ass end of a barn in that game. That's in a dome, controlled environment, no weather, just was not feeling it that night in the past game. Couldn't get anything going. Just started handing the ball to Jonas Gray. And sure enough, they got back in the game, tied it, took the lead, and won it. So there you have it. I mean, you've got to be able to in your growth, and there's a word I'm looking for. If somebody could help me out, there's like this maturation process as a team. You got to figure out, there's some days, what's the saying goes, you got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them. You're not folding them in terms of losing. It's just like, hey, you know what? Let's lean on this guy a little bit. Let's lean on this guy a little bit. That's why it's like, I hate when I come in here and we come in here and we're so down on some of these guys, but it feels so good to come in here and talk good about these guys. That's what I wish I can say to them. It's like Harrison Phillips. My God, the turnaround that this guy has had in the last, it's not like he's been good 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. It's like 6 weeks. He's been tremendous. Played some of the best interior line that I've seen in forever. Matt, again, same thing, Doug. Like him, I wanted to see him to get I wanted to see him get a few more carries. Dude, Harrison took his job. He's a backup. Ilianku's playing more snaps. That's what happens. Ilianku's playing more snaps. Moss is playing. Harrison's playing at a very, very high level. Him and Oliver are in there a lot. I saw Ilianku and Starr in there together once. And then I think it was a pretty much a sure they were going to run the ball no matter what. I forget what happened in the down, but I saw them on the field together once. And then most of the time it was basically Harrison and Oliver. I saw Obata in there a little bit. And this is a nice little rotation they have. Now, I just wish Justin Zimmer would be healthy, because then they'd really have something. Oliver, you know what? The sack numbers he's starting to get a few. This is his second straight week with a sack now. And that was a nice sack that he got. It was a really nice sack. It was those guys with that kind of leverage and that type of movement, what can you do, man? You can't block these dudes. They're too physical. It's insane. But even the one that Harry got, I was like, where the hell did that come from? When you guys get a chance to go back and watch, maybe when the Bills put up the highlights on the website, I'm sure they will, of all some of the defensive plays. That sack that Harrison got was pretty nice. It's 5, Eric, but what's up? How you doing, bro? But you know what? It's 5. But if it's 5 for a guy that's just a run plugger, there could be worse things, you know. It could be Antonio Brown. I don't mean to kick a horse while he's down, but it's his own fault. But it's the Bucks' fault too, and the league's fault. They know what type of person he is. New York Football Giants ended the day with -5 yards passing. Yeah, it was pretty tough, man. That was a bad day for them. Yeah, the Rousseau strip sack is one. It's one of those plays that I've been waiting for. Like, look, you've got these guys with length now. You've got Epinesa, you got Rousseau, you got Obata. Just knock that ball out. Do you see these guys run? Just slap it. And he clearly did it and finished the sack. I was like, thank you. I was very, very happy to see it. And then he beat, a first round pick on the other side too. I think McGandy. He's a former first round pick from Washington State. So that was good to see. But he had they all overall had a solid day. Atlanta, they did a lot of gimmicky things because they had to, personnel wise and stuff. They had a few good downhill runs with Davis. I think they had one with Patterson, but they only gave up 98 rushing yards. Didn't really get killed. The biggest play, obviously, is the 60-plus yarder to Pitts, and it's like that's a specimen right there. That's what a freak show in the pass game does for you. It's like Jackson has the perfect trail coverage. Even though he completes the pass, you have Hyde driving down. It doesn't matter. He's too athletic. He's too big. He still stiff arms Hyde off of him like nothing. And that's why the guy I'm going to advocate for in this draft is a freak show in the pass game. I've landed on that. That's what I firmly believe that we need in the pass game is Allen needs his freak show. Allen needs his, this fucking guy's going to get the ball. The whole place knows it. Everybody watching on TV knows it. Your whole coaching staff knows it. And there's really nothing you can do about it. That's what I want in this year's draft is that type of specimen for the offense. There's one player who fits that mold. There's one player in particular. Who knows if he's there or not, but I'm just saying. It doesn't hurt to dream. Let me read some of your comments. Damager, yep. Yeah, there's his Oliver's really like him and Harry are just playing great ball together. You cannot take them off the field. Yeah, he tweaked his hamstring and he tried to go out again and he ran another crosser. I don't know if he was just trying to clear out space for another guy because he was compromised, but he tried to open up and they showed it on the replay. And then he was just like doing the drag number. Like he looked like, he was doing a slew foot. And I'm like, he's done. He can't move. He's done. He can't move. And once I saw him running like that and it's cold out there, I'm like, they got to shut him down. There's no way that they're going to risk, that guy for the beginning of next year. They lose this game. It's like, okay, we gave it a go. We were valiant, but you know what? We just didn't have enough horses. Doug, I focused on watching Rousseau before every snap of the ball. So he's coming a long way. It was beautiful. Yeah, I have to go back and watch some, Doug, but what is this like? Sometimes you just get lost and everything. And I'm kind of ADD. So I just kind of my attention is on the game, but it just kind of gets sprinkled all over the place. And that was a hell of a touchdown catch, I believe, for Lazard. Holy shit. That was crazy. Can't defend it. Yeah, he was really bad. He was really and if you remember, they even said on the commentary they were trying to keep him on the sideline. He went out there anyway. He did it, and then I think whatever he tweaked, he finished off really good because I was like, he's not going to be. If he's back on the field, they're basically playing with. Because the quarterback has the ball and then he's out there. So they're basically playing with 9 guys. They just have to defend the back end and whatever's in front, and they're fine because he's a paperweight out there right now. It happens, K Beats. I mean, it's just like you've seen it a million times. Just the Bills really have to get into the lab and try to figure out the best way that they can incorporate the guys that they have now optimally, and just so they can hit on all cylinders, like with the run and the pass working in concert. Again, today's like today are going to happen where you have to lean, and that's a good thing. You got a dome team coming up north, from the South. Even though their playoff lives are on the line, they didn't really want to be out in that shit, and them getting the ball running them, they're not going to want that either. You're doing them a favor by throwing incomplete passes. You making them pay a physical toll, even if it is a 2 to 3 yard gain. You still got to go and pay a physical toll to make that tackle. You still got to go pay a physical toll to get off that block, no matter who's making it. So there's an investment there that happens testicularly that doesn't happen in the pass game. So that's why, today's taste it's like kind of like I like it, but I wish Allen could have showed out a little more. But also I'm like, okay, let this be a lesson to you today. Let this be a lesson. And McDermott's probably going to spin that. That's exactly the way he's going to spin it. Yeah, Pitt, again, I'm going to say this guy's name a million times in the room. I've already said it to a few guys privately. Treylon Burks from Arkansas. Just people say this team doesn't need a wide receiver. I don't give a shit. You're not defending that dude. Nope. Not in a million years. 6'3", 230. That's what I would, that's down the road, but I'm shooting my shot. I'm just shooting my shot. That's all. But I'll defer to the experts. I'm no expert. I'll defer to them. They talk to these dudes. They know what they need and don't need. I'll give it to them. It's like the Cobra Kai, man. Best defense, more offense. More offense. It says, wish the offensive line would block for the same tenacity the way they did for Josh. The blocking for the running backs isn't the same, but Gilliam's blocking for Singletary today was priceless. Yeah, I think the running, when they do that dive play, I don't think the offensive linemen fire off the ball, because it's like the offensive lineman stance they have to sell pass and run, so they really can't fire off the ball the same, because it's an if Josh keeps it and throws it, or if he gives it, it's just kind of like, I think I like when there's a commitment to it. They know pre-snap, I'm not coming out of this play. This play is going to happen. You guys are going to get to fire off the ball, lightning out of a bottle, and that just like they get revved up. Yeah, man. You never know with Beasley's situation. You never, with his age, with his contract. Sanders, I mean, hopefully you can get McKenzie back in the fold. But even then, I just, for me personally, like, if you can have that in your offense, man, it's just like sometimes you watch like guys like AJ Brown's, like, you're not going to defend him. He's going to get the ball. It's just too big and too strong. It's just certain dudes that just can do it. And that's just what I want this offense to have. It's something that's never had in that way. But I'll focus on what it does have right now. And if this running game can get a little bit more lathered up, the more you do it, they say the more you do it, the better you get at it. Next week should be some more of the same. I think they should next week focus on it and go right back after it. Let the guys get out there, put their hard hats on, their lunch pails on. Just like, I know it didn't turn out good for Michigan, but they wore some shirts going into the game. Their offensive lineman said, run the damn ball, run it some more. Let Josh not take some hits. Let Moss get some more carries. Let Singletary get some carries. Maybe Breida is up next week. He scored 2 touchdowns against the Jets last time they played. So just go with an attack that's just gonna, keep the chains moving, keep our defense off the field, get them as fresh as possible going into the following week. And I know next week is a must win, but if you can get them up there with a rookie quarterback, get them down a couple of scores, you should win. They should win that game going away, no problem. Now they'll be amped up and they'll be all, like they blew us out last time we were here. We didn't have our quarterback. We played a good game against Tampa Bay. Maybe that was them blowing their load. Maybe it's like, you know what? Fuck, we can't win that game. What game can we win? And they're just completely sapped and demoralized. And, that could happen too. There's a psychological component to that too. But I think the Bills should be extra salty because offensively, we're giving them some praise for the run game, but they didn't play their best offensive game at all by any stretch of the imagination. Let's not mistake that either. There was a lot of mental mistakes, turnovers, just, being chief among them. Very, very frustrating. Yeah, I remember that was last offseason. I don't know about this offseason. It might be a little different, but you know how this league is, man. This league is very, very, guys come and go, guys disappear. Guys that you thought were on the ascent are quickly on the descent or just disappear. Guys turn into head cases. Just things happen in this league, man. Everybody was calling for Antonio Williams, a few weeks back, and then he gets released. I mean, what happened there? Who knows? But we're not in the building. We can't, we can speculate, but I have no clue what happened. I mean, there's got to be a reason they decided to say, hey, you know what, we're good with these guys. Hopefully they figured out whatever was going on, and hopefully Moss gets some more carries because I like the way he ran today. Yeah, man, that is an old, antiquated rule. That's such an antiquated rule back when the league was like 3 yards and a cloud of dust. When guys, and I don't see any discernible edge or advantage that happens by the lineman being downfield. What they didn't want was like a big guy running downhill to block a little guy for whatever reason. Like that's like, it's just a stupid rule. Yeah, I hadn't seen any Doug either. I hadn't seen any. I just clicked the link you put into the I see him right there, number 70. I didn't hear that he got carted off, and I didn't hear that he had any questions. McDermott had any questions about him. So I'm not going to assume anything. I'll just assume that, hopefully he's okay. But with any, knock on wood that he's okay. But I see the play that you put in the room. He does look like he got bent back pretty, not in a good place. Yeah. That you could just never tell, Trevor. And they had planned on those guys. Remember, they had just signed Eric Wood to a contract extension, and they had planned on those guys standing in front of their rookie quarterback. And then you have to go into the season with guys like Russell Bodine and Vlad Ducasse blocking for your franchise quarterback. It's terrible. It's terrible. It had nothing. Eric, it just has nothing to do with the play. There was one where did you see the one Dallas got away with last week where their center Biotic is literally 10 yards downfield just standing there. He looked like a Madden glitch. That's what he looked like. He literally looked like a Madden glitch where he's downfield just doing this number. Nobody's there. And they just ran the play. Nothing happened. And that's why, Doug, when I say about, them picking up the flag on job, it's a thing. It just speaks to a bigger issue. These guys are just so bad and they're so inconsistent and they don't even trust what they see. They've got to sit and pontificate about it more. I'm like, well, why did you throw the flag in real time? If you didn't think it was then, what makes you think you're going to us talking? It's just really irritating. Anybody can talk themselves out of or into anything. There was another one where the flag came in late. I can't forget what it was. It was just a flag that just came in late. And I can't remember if it helped the Bills or hurt the Bills. It was just like, another flag. But I think you guys know the play I'm talking about. He was just standing there, just like, it was just hilarious. And everybody's like, oh, the league is fixed. Let me see some of the I can't find, I swear, the NFL Network. I don't know if you guys feel the same way. The league's website is terrible. 58% on. See, there's another. I like that. 36 minutes to 20. I'll round up 24 in time of possession. That's you hammering on them. That's them playing backwards, more stressed that's significant. I want that same ratio next week. I do not want our defense on the field any more than 25 minutes. I want them rested. I want them fresh. I want us just hammering on them. Oh, that was the week after Tennessee, I believe. You have Vlad Ducasse, John Miller, Jordan Mills, Russell Bodine, Ryan Groy. Those guys. Like, they did not want those guys the majority of them blocking for Josh. No fucking way. Yeah, their website is terrible. Like, if the fact I have to use ESPN's website to get faster stuff, better stuff is an indictment. Terrible. Just terrible. Only one sack for 2 yards, 233 yards rushing. That's a nice day. I wonder if Atlanta is going to be embarrassed by that. Should they be embarrassed? Their playoff lives on the line. You get run over by 233 yards by a passing team, finesse team that's soft. Shouldn't you guys be embarrassed? I'm hoping it's Rick. It's Rick. Remember, it's Rick Bates. We have to say his name right. Rick Bates. It's Rick. As everybody in the offensive, everybody calls him Rick for some reason because they say he looks like a Rick. Guys who generally get injured don't really post stuff. Let me see. Then again, he's not the most active guy on this shit. I didn't see anything in terms of an update, but hopefully he's okay. I didn't hear about him getting carted off. I didn't hear about I didn't see any of the beat writers saying that they saw him in any kind of way, not saying that he's not hurt. I'm just saying that I haven't seen anything. Oh, was it? That was so bad. Is that? Oh man, that they got. Was that right? Was that a play before the interception? By the way, when they started getting cute, that really irritated. What's up, Fleetwood? How you doing, bro? Yeah, he looked good today. He looked solid. He looked strong. He's running with attitude and finish. Like that. The second run that he got, the long one on after this on this the Bills' second possession, where he broke it, and he just bang off of Williams, just carried another defender. I'm like, that just set the tone. Yeah, that just fucked everything up. I'm like, why are you getting cute here? Why? even on the goal line, they scored a touchdown, but they wanted they wanted to get the thick TD, the thick six. I'm like, for Dion Dawkins. I'm like, okay. I'm like, well, I get it, but no need to get cute. Just punch it in. Give it a Moss. Give it a. There's no reason to be sexy here. Okay. You know what's amazing to me is that there's a lot of like astute Bill. I mean, Bills fans are fanatical, right? Fans stands for fanatic. There's a lot of passionate Bills fans are at the games, they're there, and it's just like everybody in the world had their phone out to see Antonio Brown lose his mind and go off the field. 3 different ways Sunday. But I'm like, when there's an injury or you want to see a little bit of an update or whatever, it's like you can't find it. I'm like, and hopefully Bates, I mean, that's a good problem to have. I mean, hopefully, I think he's okay. He walked over under his own power. Hopefully he's just a little sore. I saw this guy had his he's kind of wearing a shirt like me, but an undershirt for football. He was pretty bruised up on the arms and stuff after the game. But he was they had played getting tackled out there and stuff. They played downhill pretty physical. The safeties did today. They weren't giving up much. They play so much in run defense. It's not even funny. They have a lot of responsibilities, those 2 guys. I think they only been to the Pro Bowl once, which is sad. I think Hyde is the only one who has a Pro Bowl appearance out of their 5 years here. That's a crime. The only one remember, it's 130 club now. Damager. Second most touchdowns to Dan Marino. Second most touchdowns to Dan Marino in his career, first 4 years. So, yeah, and he's our backup center too, man. He's our backup center, backup guard, both sides. And remember, he played a good center when he had to take over from Morse. More than a few times, he plays a very good center. So I'll give that to Feliciano. But rushing him back too fast, let him get, if he got a few reps at the end of the game, great. But you know what? It's Bates' turn. Bates' turn now. Bates has a chance. Let him run with it. I'm fully on board with Bates playing, the full way. I have no problem with that. And obviously I think they are too. But guys, I really appreciate this is wow. 4 out of 5 years playoffs. That's nice. That's a really nice thing. But next week is vital because you want to wrap up the division. You want to have a home playoff game. You don't want to have to get on a plane. You don't want to have to get on a plane twice. And you want to have the guys in just a nice, smooth, consistent routine for as long as possible before it gets crazy. So they've guaranteed themselves 18 weeks this year. After that, nothing's guaranteed. He looked good too. He's getting better at that. He's getting more physical at that. There was a couple of times I saw him. He's the new extra lineman. It used to be Bates. Now it's him. And if you notice, they're not even carrying a second tight end in the games now. It's basically they're just like, we have 8 offensive linemen and we have Dawson Knox. We're not even going to use another tight end. So the Bills basically are just going in there with Knox and that's it. And he didn't even catch a pass today, which is crazy. That just speaks to, the guy who got the most burn in the pass game was Diggs and Davis. They were probably the best 2 guys in the pass game today. But anyway, guys, I'm about to jump off of here. Headache is starting to come back a little bit. It was really annoying. Otherwise, I would have been on here much, much earlier. But I had one of those, it just would not go away. I think the first part of the game really gave it to me. After the one intercept, I was just like, oh, Jesus Christ. Why can't I just get one of these games where I can just sit here and I can be partying by the halftime? But you know what? It's not always that way. But appreciate you all so much. We're on the cusp of another great season in this room together. And hopefully we got a few more weeks ahead. Few more weeks. Something like 6 or 7. How about that? Peace, bro. Thanks, Eric. I appreciate it, man. Go Bills. Great observations as always. Great insight. Stuff that I forget. Otherwise, I ain't gonna say it. You too, Doug. Don't fly too fast, my brother. Fleetwood, all you guys. Trevor, been seeing you here for a while. K Beats, you're back. Utz is Damager's always in here. Bill's Boot Camp. Jake. A lot of always. I didn't see Steven here today, but he's usually in here, watches the replays. But a lot of the regulars were in here today. Andrew, new cat. But thanks, guys. I really, really appreciate y'all. Go Bills. Hopefully, got a nice, smooth week. No issues, no sicknesses, no nothing. Just, just a night like this week. Got all our guys back. Had no issues, no incidences. Just nice, smooth sailing for the week and into the playoffs. So thanks again, guys. Love you all. Go Bills. From me to Ramius. Have a great first week of the year, man. Peace. Go Bills. That was all right.